everyone, welcome back, and I cannot believe that we are already starting to process our next sale in June. So working towards our summer sale, or start of summer sale, 4-day sale taking place the 11th to 14th of June. Consignment deadline, if you do have anything for sale, is the 10th of May, so you do need to get things to us by then. But same as always, guitars, artist related gear, memorabilia, amps, pedals, spares, studio equipment, exactly the same format as before. 4-day sale of all of those items, usually around 1,000 lots per sale. So we are working towards that sale, but we have just had our March auction, and before we look at the gear, I just want to say a really quick thank you to everyone who was involved, whether that was our vendors entrusting us to sell their goods for them, all the buyers that have ended up with some fantastic new gear, and then of course everyone on our social media platforms who follow us, comment, and essentially engage with us and get the word around there. Those of you who are just joining us today on the channel, if you get to the end of this video and like what you see, then please do subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit the bell icon, and then you can see lots more of us. But that's enough of me waffling on. You all want to see what's coming up in this June auction. Let's take a look. So if you follow us on all of our other social media platforms, we are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, even Twitter we occasionally post to. You will have already seen this guitar because we've already been posting things in advance. So this video is being recorded about 4 days after the first bit of stock was uploaded. So you may have seen some of these things already, but this, if you have been watching those channels, you will already know, but this is a 2016 Fender Eric Clapton Artist Series Stratocaster. So there we go, there is his facsimile on the headstock, but this is in great condition. This is in the grey pewter metallic finish, and you can see all the stickers intact. Finish is immaculate. We even got the old trem sticker present there, so you can see that's in very, very good condition. Noiseless pickups. It's got the TBX mid boost pot as well, which is standard for this model, based on a 50 Stratocaster single ply guard maple board, but it's in very, very good clean condition. Original case. It's come from a deceased estate, and the widow did say that it was hardly ever used. So yeah, really, really nice clean condition. 2016 Eric Clapton Strat. So in here we have not what the case would suggest. So we've got a 90s Les Paul standard case, but inside we actually have a Gibson R9 Les Paul. Now we have no idea what's happened to the original case. This has come from the same vendor as the Eric Clapton Strat, deceased estate, and they have no idea where the original case went. There's also an R8 in this collection which does have its original case, but unfortunately the original case on this one is not present. Nice top on this one, sort of the heritage sunburst, and we've got more of a straight, actually it depends on the light, yeah, because I'm just putting it there and it's really flamey, and then you turn it the other way and it's got quite a nice grain going up as well. So yeah, it's sort of quite a nice varied top on that one. Not too in your face. I think some of the some can be over flamey and just look a bit unnatural, but that's quite a natural yeah, quite a natural top. Nice sunburst, as I say, and really nice big 59 neck profile as well, which I like. Indian rosewood board, original burst bucker pickups, and a typical Bumblebee caps, and CTS pots. So there we go, in the 90s case. We do have the original paperwork though, so that has stayed in place with the matching serial number. So we've got the gold warranty, matching serial number there, and most importantly the Gibson Custom COA LP59 reissue. There we go. So a nice R9 to whet your appetites. And next up, you already know what this is because I've already mentioned it with the previous guitar. This is the R8. So this is in the iced tea finish, washed out iced tea finish. Nice traditional top as well, subtle flaming. And I think you've already mentioned this, Chris, the preference for this. I think it just looks less in your face, a bit more bursty. It reminds me a little bit of the Beast, actually, Bernie Marsden's guitar, nice and yellow. I do like that when the burst is washed out.
It's like a honey kind of
honey, yeah, that's it. But there we go. Again, Indian rosewood board, big 58 chunky neck, which I like. Not everyone will, so there's a lot of people who will find this neck far too big. And correct spec, I think this one, based on the serial number, is from around 2013. I do need to check that up, but pretty sure that's 2013. And we've got the case, and again, all the papers as we should. We've got the Gibson Custom. I'm pretty sure these brown ones were within that period, 2013-14. LPR8 with the matching serial number, and of course the gold warranty papers. So that's another nice example. Really like that R8, so spoilt for choice already, an R8 or an R9. This is fresh in the building. Very fresh, and it looks fresh as well. So here we have a Gibson Byrdland, and I cannot believe, I can believe how much even these modern ones have gone up in value. I say modern like that because this was actually made in 1990, so to me that is modern. But 34 years ago. But that is a 34-year-old guitar, and it looks as if it was made almost yesterday. There's a tiny ding there I can see, but other than that, it's all good. So yeah, the guitar, the Gibson Byrdland guitar, I really like them as hollow bodies go. They look smart. I'm not going to give the entire history of what Byrdland guitars are about, but they are very desirable. You don't see many of them around, especially in this condition. Like I said, this one is a 34-year-old guitar. Look how clean it is. It's got the original 90s Gibson case. This is the correct type case for the 90s period. And then we even have the original tag there with the matching serial number. Vintage sunburst finish, VSB. But there we go, Rossetti. So it was originally an English imported Gibson. And yeah, like I said, cannot believe how much they have gone up in value. But, you know, 34 years old now. We're becoming the new vintage. So another very, very recent addition. This came in about an hour ago. So this is a 1968-ish Gibson Country Western. So the Country Western model, basically a Southern Jumbo, but the Country Western was the natural option. So yeah, it's in road-worn condition, very much so. I mean, look at that. This is how I actually like to see them.
Yes, you just instantly think of Willie Nelson.
Yeah, it's been used, and usually when a guitar's been used, more often than not, it means it's a good guitar. And I guess that's where the term player's grade comes from, in a way. You know, not perfect, although most player's grade also have originality issues. This is generally all stock. Skinny nut on this one, as it is from later in the 60s, so 65, all the nut widths went narrower, so some people won't like the skinny nuts, especially those vintage purists. I don't mind them that much, to be honest with you. I can handle the skinnier ones, but yeah, it's in the condition you'd expect for the age, really. You know, it's not been a case queen, and it does have that Gibson sound, that not quite in tune, but yeah, it does have that Gibson acoustic sound, nice and deep, but still sort of cuts through quite well. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna, estimate wise, if this was in immaculate condition, you'd be looking at 2,500 hammer plus, but it's a chance to get possibly a vintage Gibson acoustic for under 2,000 hammer. So yeah, possibly a good opportunity there. So in here we have our first pre-CBS Strat for the sale, which is always good, and a lot of you will have already noticed, or maybe not a lot of you, because not everyone knows these things, of course, but it is in what we call player's grade condition, because we're covering the outside because this guitar has only just come in and I am yet to take it apart, so I don't know what is going on the inside. We will do a video, I think, just covering everything on this guitar, so we'll do a standalone video on this guitar, so I guess that'll be the next video up, but I cannot comment on things inside, so let's just assume for the minute that, so we do have a three-way switch, so we can probably assume that that's original, and the pickups look okay from the outside, and I will say, when I go over other things, I will say why for the minute I think they're probably original. I'm not going to comment on the pots because pots often get changed, but let's have a look and see what I think about this guitar. Now, I've not really looked at this guitar much at all previously to this, so I am pretty much talking about this guitar off the cuff, so there may be one or two things that I'm incorrect about once I actually have looked at this a lot closer. But what can I tell you? It's been refinished. You can see there's some heavy lacquer checking here, which is not how nitro, or the correct nitro, naturally ages. It's also the wrong type of sunburst. So refinished body. The neck is 100% refinished. I mean, you can see all the old wear here, which has got lacquer over the top. So this is all the old grimy wear, but you can even feel the lacquer cracks in the finish as well. The decal is it's old and of the correct type, but until I've actually looked at it closer, I can't really comment properly. But the neck has been refinished, so we do need to proceed with caution, but in another video I will comment on that. Tuners look right, they look the right type, the Clusen Deluxe single lines, and then we've got the serial plate there, 5 digits starting with a 7, so 1962, and someone's put the plate back on upside down. Not that it matters, it does the same job whichever way it is. And you will see there, if you look at the end of the board, it's a slab, not veneer board, so earlier 62, transition to veneer boards later in the year, well, 62 into 63. And then you'll notice the black guard. Now, from what I can ascertain, it's not a replacement, it's just been painted. So you can see the green underneath here. Again, I've got to take the guard off, I might turn it over and discover otherwise, but I'm going to assume at this stage that that guard is original. I have had a look around here and I can see, originally I couldn't really see any of the layers, but I've just had a look in here where it has been scraped back by someone, and you can see the 3-ply, which is correct. All the screw holes appear to be in place, but I'm going to hold judgment on the guard until I've had a closer look. The one thing I would say is there's not an awful lot of shrinking, but that's not to say every green guard does shrink. So there's not an awful lot of pulling or shrinking to the guard, but then I guess it could just be the way it is. But anyway, control knobs have been replaced. Don't know about the pots until we have a closer look inside. And the saddles all look correct. The trem arm looks okay. The block looks okay. I need to take this plate off to really be sure about this one. But there we go. So externally, refinish on the neck and the body, and the replaced control knobs. The frets are definitely original. They've been absolutely played to death and are very low, and this guitar will need a refret, I think. I mean, some people like playing with, you know, look at the Fretless Wonder guitars. So some people do like, or don't mind, the lack of frets there, but if it was me, I would definitely be replacing those. I do prefer fatter frets anyway. But do check out our next video. Of course, hit the bell icon, and then you'll be notified when that video goes up. We will have a look inside this guitar and sort of dissect it even more and go into more detail. But that is the first pre-CBS Strat up 1962 Fender Stratocaster in player's grade condition. So sticking with the 1962 theme, one of the greatest Fender amplifiers ever made, which I'm sure a lot of you will agree there. This is a Fender Super Amp from 1962. So we've got the brown Tolex, brown grille, and this one does work. So as you see in the back, we've got a couple of replacement speakers, Celestion G10S, the two 10-inch speakers in there. There are some modifications in the back with the electrics. No pedal for the trem, or the vibrato, but the vibrato does work. There's a bit of crackle on the pots of this one. We've had it going. It sounds lovely, as you'd expect it to. Lovely Fender valve tones. So a 1962 Fender Super Amp. And then moving along, we'll just feature some more amps because I don't think we feature amps enough. And there's a Marshall JCM 900. This is the 4100 model, 100 watt high gain dual reverb head. Very, very popular. A lot of 90s bands use these, rock bands.
Punk rockers.
Smashing Pumpkins were one of my favourite grunge bands, and Billy Corgan used 800s and 900s. Fantastic amplifiers. And on the right, another vintage amplifier, Hiwatt 200 watt head, very loud. Vintage Hiwatt amp, far too loud really, ear-piercingly so. Why we need 200 watt amplifiers, I don't know. Well, back then, didn't really care about our hearing, did we? Just get on with it. Just get on with it. So yeah, three nice amps. We've got plenty of other good amplifiers coming in, and then just here, down on the table, always nice to have these Colorsound pedals. We had a Colorsound in the last cell that did rather well indeed. So this is the Tonebender Jumbo, Sola sound from the 1970s. And this was actually found in the bottom of a box from an antique clearance with a load of camera gear. So we weren't expecting this to come in at all with any guitar consignments. It was found basically in a general clearance just at the bottom of a box. So a really nice addition to our effects pedal section. Last time we had 250 effects pedals, but whether we'll get that amount this time we do not know, but there is a lovely start to that section. Next up, back to guitars and a modern Gibson. This is a 2020, so it really is modern, only 4 years old. L00 Studio Walnut, so walnut back and sides, nice walnut grain there. But in good clean condition, vintage sunburst top, small bodied, perfect armchair acoustic, has electrics as well. Not entirely sure what pickup it's got in there, but yeah, there we go in its case. And the one thing I would say about modern cases is, I don't know if other people agree with me, but don't these cases just look cheap? I don't know what it is about them, but maybe it's just me. But yeah, these modern Gibson cases, but why does it matter? It's a musical instrument, who cares about the case? But
it's only
just
meant to keep it safe.
Yeah, just thought it was worth mentioning. My opinion only, obviously. We may have already seen this guitar in the last consignment update. The reason why is this guitar was supposed to be in the last auction. It was withdrawn, and the reason is there was problems with the CITES paperwork, but that's all being resolved. So couldn't sell it because we didn't have the documentation in place at the time, where it was an unexpected issue. But anyway, there it is. It's a 1964 Epiphone Rivoli bass. I love them. I think they look the part. Nice semi-hollow body bass guitar. Yeah, in fairly good condition. It's got some wear and tear, but everything that's this old should have that wear and tear, really. I'll certainly have this amount of wear and tear when I'm that age. Probably.
My knees sound like they already have.
Yeah, creaking already. But there we go, 1964 Epiphone Rivoli bass guitar. Something else we possibly don't feature enough: classical guitars. Of course, antique and classical guitars always feature on the Friday, so it'll be 14th of June for these. If you want to see more antique and classical guitars, if they are for you, let us know in the comments. You know, maybe, I think there's always the assumption that people are perhaps more inclined to want to look at vintage and more modern and contemporary guitars. But if you are a big classical guitar enthusiast, let us know in the comments. It always helps knowing, because we're always up for featuring them more. So this is a Manuel Contreras. This one's from the 80s, 1987, I think, from the label there, just looking quickly. But it's in good condition from a classical player, lifelong classical player. And there we go, you can see the nice straight grained Indian rosewood there. So Indian rosewood back and sides on this one. And the top there, which that does look like cedar, actually, that one, red cedar. But again, I do need to look at the grain closer under better light, really. And there we go, good condition Manuel Contreras concert guitar. So in this non-Fender case is a Fender American Standard. So again, a American Standard without its original case. But there it is, from the 90s, I believe, 1998. Sunburst Fender American Standard Stratocaster, and it's in fair to use condition. Fretwear, a bit of wear on the fretboard itself as well. There's a tiny little pulling on the neck, but otherwise it's just I guess it's a good used guitar. What have we got in there? We've got an original Fender Strat from the period. We've got the original trem arm. So there it is, an American Standard good to go Stratocaster. So in here we have Black Machine. Jokes.
It does look like one, though.
Does look a bit like a Black Machine. If you don't know anything about Black Machine guitars, look them up. They are quite incredible. Had the chance to meet the maker and play one a few years ago. I think you probably won't really know much about them unless you follow the metal scene. I think that's fair to say, although there are a lot of jazz guitarists who like them as well because they are quite good tech guitars. Anyway, this is a GOC Valkyrie III, so you won't see many of these around. I don't really know a lot about them, to be honest. They're an American based company, so these are designed in America and made in, I think they're made in China. Am I correct in saying that? Or
there's like
Far East factories, at least.
Stuff about China and Japan.
So we've got American Swamp Ash back, and then we've got a Bengal Burst top. It's this Tiger Flame top, and then hardtail. I guess quality-wise, I think we were both discussing this earlier. I think it kind of feels on par with an Ibanez Iron Gear series. I'd say possibly a little bit higher end than an Iron Gear Ibanez. So yeah, it's a well-made guitar, and these you tend to be able to pick these up on certainly on the private listing markets. They tend to get listed for £600 or £700, but that will be coming up in the next auction. I think probably with an estimate of something like £400 to £500. But a cool-looking guitar. A Black Machine meets an Ibanez Iron Gear
like boutique
series.
On a budget, right?
Boutique on a budget, yeah. So there you are. That's very Angus Young, isn't it?
I've even said Tony Iommi.
Tony Iommi, one of the two. They both played a black SG. But this is a 2012 Gibson SG Standard in Ebony. There we go. And it is in very good condition. I think the problem with black finishes is no matter what age they are, they just get this swirling from surface contact, so they can sometimes look more used and get marks and fingerprints all over. But
it's like black cars, isn't it? It just shows up everything.
Exactly. I do have a black car, and it's a nightmare to clean, so I just don't clean it. But there we go. That is a 2012 Gibson SG Standard. And we're just going to finish off with something quite topical. The news from Epiphone. I mean, it's kind of related, but not really. Just because it's a Epiphone semi-hollow body and it's in blue. And of course, the Dave Grohl Epiphone came out. Was it last week or was it this week? Don't know, one of the two. Very for
a little while.
Yeah, they've been saying stuff about it, but they're finally released. But anyway, this is an Epiphone ES-339. So Gibson do have their equivalent, or should I say, this is the equivalent to the Gibson. So it's essentially a smaller bodied ES-335. So just all slimmed down proportions on the body, which is preferable for some, those who don't like getting, wrangling that bigger body. But this is in very, very good condition indeed. And what year was this one made? It was made in 2022, so it's only 2 years old, with its original case, all the paperwork, immaculate condition. And yeah, I think they're a good guitar, and very, very good quality now these days, Epiphone guitars. So you do get a lot of guitar for your money, especially if you don't want to spend £2,000 plus on the Gibson alternative. So there we go, ladies and gents, a nice short intro to the June auction. As you can see, we've got some great things coming up already. Lots in the pipeline, lots being delivered in the coming weeks. So we will be back next week with another consignment update, and as I mentioned earlier, we'll take a closer look at that 1962 Fender Stratocaster with an under the guard feature. So do look out, because there could be 2 videos coming next week. And of course, hit the bell icon so that you do get notified of the future videos. Subscribe to our channel, like this video so that all like-minded people can have the opportunity to see our content. And of course, sign up to our newsletter and follow our other social media channels for even more advanced warning of what we've got coming up in our auction. So next auction is the 11th to the 14th of June, 4-day sale, guitars, memorabilia, artist-owned guitars, amps, pedals, effects, studio equipment, antique and classical guitars, and also other musical instruments, with the musical instrument sale, of course, on Friday the 14th of June. If you've got anything to sell, get in touch. 10th of May is the deadline, and we look forward to seeing you next time.